I still don't trust the record on this computer or record on the cloud. I'm like, on the computer. I want to see it.
Never the cloud.
Yeah, I
I'm
still
not going
don't.
up there.
Yeah, I don't know what's up there. Um, Austin Carr, how the hell are you, buddy?
What's going on, Jesse? It's good to see you. It's been a minute.
It's good to see you too. You know what I always wonder, like with my friends like you, like my first thing I wonder is like, does that guy cut his hair yet?
No, it's a mess. It's down to my collarbone and it's just frazzled. It's awful.
Man, I wish I had the patience to grow my hair long, but once it starts getting warm, I can't
No.
take it.
Yeah, it's all over you. You're on top of yourself, like you're pinning yourself down. And
Uh-huh.
then yeah, without a haircut, it looks shitty. It's like you think you look like Aquaman, but I look like some creature from the bay.
I don't see how girls do it, man. Like I commend them. Like I guess they just never, they just always like
It's a
that was
higher
just
pain tolerance.
yeah, they definitely, the chicks are definitely tougher than us.
Oh yeah.
Definitely.
Sorry, I got my screen over here, so I'm looking at you, but it doesn't look like I'm looking at you.
I do the same thing every time. Like when I watch the podcast back, when I'm editing, I'm like, why did I do that? But
If I sit back, I can get both.
it's just
weird
such a,
to stare at the camera. I want to
it's just such a hard habit to break. Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you do two monitors then, or you got one monitor?
I've got a gaming monitor over here, but this is like where I do my desktop browsing and all that.
So you were a gamer. You're a gamer then.
A little bit here and there, just like in my free time. I mean, it's quarantine, baby, so I went back to it. I had quit cold turkey. I was like heavily addicted for a while. I was one of those like World of Warcraft during class kids.
Okay. So it
Yeah.
seems like the gamers were a little bit more ready to transition over into the Zoom era.
So they say, but I don't know. I don't know if that applies to me. But I've been gaming. I've been having a good time.
That's great. That's great. So obviously I met you when I went to go watch a Talking After Sets show at Punchline. And I went to the first one at Punchline, and it was so great. Oh, look at that!
Long live Talking After Sets.
It was so great,
it.
and I thought the concept was so good, and it was always like it was something that was like kind of right up my alley because I was already doing a podcast, and I grew up just like listening to even before podcasts were popular. Like I always listened to Love Lines,
Yeah.
and then from there, like kind of podcasts kind of birthed through like Adam Carolla and the Adam Carolla Podcast Network.
Yeah,
Like now, like you say podcast and you immediately think Joe Rogan, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But you know, before Rogan, we had Carolla, and he kind of spawned a lot of that. And I went to check out Talking After Sets, and it was great. You want to talk about that? How that got started?
Yeah, man, I loved that show, and I loved that whole endeavor in comedy and starting your own show. And originally, I wanted it to be a podcast, but because it's a live stand-up show as well, some of the comics didn't want to release their material online before they're ready, and I wanted to be respectful of that, you know. And
Got it.
so I went through a couple different like scenarios. Did I want to like edit everything heavily to where it was just like the riffing portions? Because basically the show is you have 4 or 5 comics that come up, they do their material, and then they join a panel and kind of assemble at a panel over time as they do their sets. And then we have the full lineup on stage at the end of the show. So we're bringing the green room to the stage, and I thought about condensing like the riffing portions and releasing that as a podcast or some sort of like digestible content online, but I decided to just keep it as a live experience because it was so much fun to come hang out. And that's where it was like, it was kind of a podcast mentality starting it, but also like I love those shows, Green Room with Paul Provenza and not Comic Talk, that's what we're on right now.
Thanks.
Yeah, we're getting a free plug right away. But
Yeah.
I do love your show. I've been keeping up with this, and I just love the idea of comedians talking. Like I loved Carson bringing comics over to the couch, and just that moment when you got to see not only what they prepared for you, but what's right underneath the surface and who they really are.
Yeah. You know,
that other show, not Green Room with Paul Provenza, but there was one more.
I'm
Where it
not
was
sure.
like 5-6 comics on Comedy Central hanging out. I'm trying to remember. I'm blanking.
That's all right. I really like what you said about bringing the green room to the stage, because like so many times, like you go to a show, you don't always have a great set. So it's not always your set that you're thinking about on the drive home, it's not always your set that you're talking about the following week. But what you're always remembering and what you're sharing with the other comics, and what is so hard to share with the people who aren't comics, is what that energy was in the green room, and a lot of times how much support is in that green room, and how much like riffing and
Hmm.
a little bit of hazing
Oh yeah,
uh,
all of it.
that goes on in that green room, right?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, that was like the again, the thought that went into it was like you said, sometimes you don't always have the best set, and so this gives an opportunity of redemption for the comics, where now they can hang out on the panel and get some riff and momentum back in it, so the night's not like totally a loss for them. Or
Right.
even if it is like they have a bad set, you can go up and talk about it and get some self-deprecating laughs that way. um, but it also was more like, if you do well, so many times like you go out and you see a show and there's like, who was that comic they were so funny, and now they're gone. And rather than them being gone in the back of the room, now they're on stage for the rest of the show, and after the next set they might have an opportunity to chime back in and give the audience a little more. So it's just
That's
trying to deepen
that's
that connection.
that's very true, right? Like especially like comics that go up early in the night, you kind of forget about them.
Yep.
By the time the headliner comes, the headliner just comes out and just kills, and it's like you forget about the opener that got like 7 minutes or 5 minutes. But
Yeah.
that is great. And you brought up something too, that me being an older guy, and having grown up watching Johnny Carson, is that whenever you see these interviews, there's a Jerry Seinfeld doc called Standing Up,
Hmm.
and they spend a lot of time talking about what it was like the first time Johnny brought them back to the couch, talking about Johnny Carson, because it wasn't guaranteed that you were going to get called back to the couch. It's like every
Yep.
comic that went out there, right?
Yeah. Oh, and can you imagine that feeling of going up and just giving it your all and then not getting the couch?
Right. And like you going
Oh.
up, like being like the second or third time on Carson and not getting the couch.
Yeah.
There's a great scene in that documentary where they each go, all of them immediately will tell you exactly when it was that Johnny invited them back to the
Mm.
couch, and what it meant to them. And you can see like the what, you got called back to the couch your first time, or like, I never got called back to the couch,
I've never been. Yeah.
Yeah, it's great. You know what was amazing too about talking after sets? It seemed to get traction right away. Like, or did it take a while and I just noticed it when it got traction? How did it,
I
like, how quickly did you go from concept to punchline?
we had I had one year of doing that show, and
Oh,
I was about to get to the 1 year anniversary. It was going to be on March 29th, right when everything shut down. The first show was March 31st of 2019, and we did that one at Cobb's. And it was really just, I asked the GM for a rental agreement. I asked if I could, you can do that at any club. You can go and rent out the club
right.
for a night. And you have to pitch them at most clubs, you have to pitch them on the concept of the show and justify that it's going to be worth their time to rent it out to you. Um, and for whatever reason, yeah, after that first show, it seemed like it made sense. The comics really enjoyed it. I loved it. The people in the audience enjoyed it. And so it just seemed like something that people wanted more of.
Hmm.
And because we had done that first one at Cobb's and the Live Nation umbrella, it was easy enough to get over to Sacramento Punchline. The biggest concern with that is like, being a San Francisco comic, I didn't know if I had like people that would show up in Sacramento.
Hmm.
It's like just far enough away. Um,
Yeah.
but I would go out like 3 days, 4 or 5 days before the show, and just like grassroots case the area with a bunch of flyers, and go to Starbucks and talk to all the baristas or whatever, and hand out, just try to get the word going. I remember I would like a couple of times I would go to a drive-through and buy the person's coffee behind me and be like, "Yo, give him a ticket." I have no idea if that
Great.
worked. I have no idea if that worked, but
But it's innovative, and it's old school, and it definitely is grassroots.
we got the word out and we had some fun. We had some people that showed up and we had a good time at SAC.
Yeah, and I will definitely vouch for you coming out early, and promoting, because we hung out one night.
We hit mics.
Yeah, we hit some mics. Was it the night after or the night before? I don't even remember. But
I think it was the night right before.
yeah, we hit a bunch of mics, and I went and got myself very humbled at Touch of Class
Yeah,
Playmakers.
me too, dude. It was not the warm-up that you always want, which is,
But maybe
comedy
it
is
was
the
the
great
warm up we
equalizer.
needed.
Yeah, exactly. This game, we all bleed in this game.
Yeah,
Comedy
definitely.
is the great equalizer. It's the great ego death.
Yeah, I love going to touch a class, not because I do great there, but because I love the realness of that audience, man.
Hmm.
That's like a Showtime at the Apollo.
Yeah. I mean, that's one of those things where they're going to let you know how you're doing. And I
Yeah,
like that. That's
yeah,
like, you know, because you could go to the rooms where you know you're going to, or where you think you're going to do well and all that. But Tony Sparks was one of the people that got in my ear about, he's like, as soon as you start to get comfortable in a region, that's when you got to go to the next neighboring town and start trying to conquer that area and establish like a hub of fan base if you can. So that was why I wanted to come to Sacramento, and it's why we go out to places like Touch a Class. It's not because we know we're gonna fucking kill it, but it's just because it presents the challenge of trying to conquer some new area and earn some new fans or whatever.
right, right. Yeah, and I've heard comics, like established comics, say that you're not supposed to go out and kill every night. That if you're going out and killing every night, you're not being true to the to yourself or to the craft. It means you're kind of you're playing it safe and you're not taking chances and you're not
Yeah,
taking risks. And
yeah,
it's like a top 40 DJ can play like all of the best top hits and everyone's gonna love it, but like slip in a B side or slip
yeah.
in a
Where are the gems?
yeah, exactly. And so the comedy is a lot like that.
I feel it.
Yeah. What was it like, dude? Because like I was going great with comedy. I was really happy with where I was. Like I think at that point I was about 14 months in, 16 months in,
Jesus.
from having started, and I was getting shows here and there. It was going okay. I was really happy with it, and I was ready for the next steps. I was working hard, and I know your show was doing great, and then boom, just
Boom.
stopped. Like,
Yeah.
what was that like, man?
Dude. I mean, I'm sure everyone has sung their woes about this, but I remember again, I was getting ready for that 1 year anniversary show, so I was like, my marketing campaign was in full steam, trying to pump out any sort of advertisements for this show and get people interested. And I was pulling people from LA to come perform too, so it was going to be like a good show. I was really really excited. I had put a lot of work into it, and then I think March 17th. No, that was the day we went into shutdown. I want to say it was like March 9th was my last show, or maybe March 12th. And I
I can
remember,
remember it vividly. March 12th was a Thursday because March 13th
yes,
was a Friday the 13th.
yes, and
My
March,
last show was at Punchline on March the 11th,
okay, on that Wednesday.
on that Wednesday. Yep.
Yeah, mine was that Thursday. We were doing a brewery show, and I remember it was like right when the news cycle was starting to say maybe people should stay inside.
Yeah.
And I was kind of laughing at that show. I was like, well, now you can tell the which of us comics really have nothing else to live for. Like, we're here, we're ride or die, we're going for it. We're riding this thing until the wheels fall off.
Yeah.
And we had a really fun show, but people were still like, it was right when people were getting uneasy, and then literally everything went away. And it was like the 17th, I think, is when San Francisco went into full lockdown. Um, and originally, all of the I had a little bit of inside track having worked at Cobb, so I was like hearing from the employees whether or not they were going to cancel shows, they were postponing them and rescheduling, and so I just had hope that things were going to come back.
Uh huh.
I played quarantine all wrong. I was literally sitting in my apartment twiddling my thumbs, like any minute now we're going to be back out there.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that's. I remember like at the very beginning, I was like, the end of March will be good.
I thought, yeah, 3 months at most.
Yeah, everything's gonna be fine by Easter. We're gonna ride this out. But
Yep.
like, so at what point did it just finally just set in? You're like, oh fuck,
Well,
this is
when we canceled the show, I got really depressed, and I was like, ah, fuck. Okay, this is going to be a thing. Comedy's going away for a minute, um, and I was, that's when it like really hit for me. Is I think it hit for everybody when something got taken from them, and then it became like immediately present in your life. For a while, it was very ethereal, and you're like, this thing is over there. It's not affecting any of us. Why is it even like a conversation? And
hmm
then it slowly started getting closer, and all of us got things taken from us, and here we are. So I'm not gonna act like I'm a victim, but that's when I got really bummed. And then May, I think, is the first time I did another well, yeah, May 6th, I did my first Zoom show. That was when Zoom was starting to
yeah,
creep in, and I had already talked to the comedians about what it was like, and everyone was very upset about Zoom. No one was happy that the comedy was on Zoom, and they kind of told me what to expect. So my plan was just to wait it out and not participate in that. Just take some time for self-care, work on some writing, some projects, and I felt like Zoom was presenting like a lesser version of your comedy.
Uh-huh.
I don't know. I just have my own ideals about
No,
that.
everyone, you're not going against the grain with what you're saying about Zoom. A lot of people were like, "Oh, that's not real comedy. I'm not gonna
Yeah,
belittle myself to that." But at
which
the
I'm not.
same,
I'm what am I above Zoom? So I mean, I did one, and I'm gonna
yeah,
do it and participate. But I did get that feeling, and I was like, this just isn't how I would want to introduce myself to people. For some people, it's going to be the first time they see your comedy that way, and it's like,
uh-huh,
is this what I want my first impression with them to be?
yeah,
Um, so my buddy was doing like an online music festival. He's in the EDM world in publication.
okay.
Um, and so he wanted me to do a comedy interlude, and originally wanted me to bring talking after sets.
Oh,
But
okay.
but I was like, the format is so good live. Um, I think I'll just maybe get some comics to help out, but probably won't do talking after sets on Zoom.
Yeah, yeah.
Ended up no one else wanted to do the Zoom thing. Everyone was like, Zoom sucks. So I had to do 30 minutes on my own.
Oh, it's rough.
Yeah, and I did it in my bathtub, which is the only thing that made it fun. Is I was sitting in my bathtub smoking joints and eating pizza and telling my jokes, and it
That's
ended up
kind of cool. Yeah.
it ended up being fun. And like I read the comment thread after because I couldn't see the audience,
Uh-huh.
and there's one lady was like, it's so fun to not have to be out at a comedy show and worry about laughing openly, and I can just like sit back and giggle to myself in my chair. And so like I think Zoom is for those kinds of people. It's
Yeah.
and I don't say that derogatorily at all. It's just the people that don't necessarily want to go out and put like, because it's a give and take from the comedian and the audience as far as energy. There is a little bit of participation required when you go out to a live show. Like you got to, get into it, get into the spirit.
You got to get dressed up. You got to get dressed. You got to
Well, it's the
put,
same. It's like
yeah.
if you go to a concert and you're just standing there and you're not like swaying or singing to the music,
Uh-huh.
but in your head you're enjoying it. And I get those people, but usually when you're a band and you're playing a show, you want to see people swaying in the crowd and singing along. And I
Yeah,
don't know.
because you feed off that energy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that was my experience with Zoom. I did it as a favor for a friend, and also just to like I wanted to firsthand experience it, but I was one and done.
Yeah, I'm not minding the Zoom shows so much now. I've jumped onto a couple of Zoom open mics
Mm-hmm.
in the last 3 or 4 weeks, and it's been really cool because it's like one of them's like I don't need they're not in Sacramento, so like I
Oh, you can
finally
go.
did Pete Munoz's open mic.
Nice.
Like that was something that like I never would have done because it's like on a Monday night, like you
Yeah,
know
or you
two and
could
a half.
sign up for Flappers in LA, or there's a guy in Austin, Texas that's running some virtual comedy show with VR headsets. So like you could perform all over the country now virtually.
Uh-huh.
So I don't know. There's uh, definitely pros and cons, and there's a whole like it gets better campaign for Zoom where people are like, the longer really does get better, and you
Yeah.
start working on
Well,
your material.
when I talked to Ivy Cordova, she said that how it's really helping her network and just meet so
Hmm.
many new people that like that was her approach to it. And like how well that's always been her approach to comedy is like to just get out and meet new people. And Zoom has really
100%.
opened that up. So like she approached it just like from the beginning, like I'm just gonna tackle this and keep going. And like I think watching her like really made me want to be like, okay, I think I could do a couple of these. But
Yeah.
what I was looking at your Instagram earlier today, I watched this really great video of you playing with this new
Oh yeah.
what's your new toy that you were playing with?
I got an auto tune. I
Uh-huh.
was having a good ass time with that. That was like again, I think around April, May, when I had done that Zoom show. Yeah, so it must have been May that I got that thing. I had done the Zoom show. I was pretty sure I wasn't going to do any more online comedy, but I was trying to think of just ways that I could have fun riffing at home and stay sharp and keep generating content on my own while I'm writing. And I just happened to buy this auto tune on Amazon for like $60 and plugged it in and was having a good time with it.
Yeah, dude, it does all kinds of crazy stuff. I was cracking up at the when you started doing the voice of the what they do to the voice when it's somebody like
when they conceal their identity.
yes, yeah.
Yeah. So that now I just want to make one of those clips where I'm blacked out and it doesn't show my face or my name, and I'm just speaking into the microphone like this and giving my testimony.
Maybe it should be
I should have plugged it in for this.
yeah. Well, I have it right here. Hold on. Do you mind?
No, go ahead.
Let's see where we're at on here. Share screen or share this screen. You can see it, right? Oh wait, share. Okay, here we go.
A light city versus a hard city. City or light city. Off. I don't know what the difference is between light and off. I want to go back to F. I just want to go back to F. Oh my God, this probably sounds so schizophrenic to my neighbors.
Yep.
Want to go back to F.
That's what loneliness looks like, Jesse. That's what loneliness and isolation looks like.
Oh man, yeah. I didn't want to play too much of it because it doesn't. The audio is still recording to the microphone, so they can see the picture really good, but the audio comes in kind of low.
It's a little wonky. You don't want to see the full picture. Yeah. You don't want to see what's going on in my house.
I dig your George Carlin poster.
Oh, thanks, dude. Yeah, I've got that one over here. I moved home with my folks about a month ago. That's like the latest evolution in quarantine. They say there's nothing like moving home at 26. They say it's a sweet special spice.
Uh-huh.
But
you're not alone in that. So many people are doing that.
Yeah, I know. I was actually I was talking to Nikki Glazer a while because she moved home with her folks at the beginning of quarantine, and I was like, man, if literally someone at the peak of their game, in how I'm not going to say her age, but where she's at in life, if she can do it, I can stomach it up. I can deal with it, and I'm acting like I'm some fucking victim, but it's just living at home and saving up and being with my family. But now it's like being my kids or being my parents' kid again,
Uh-huh.
And coming up for dinner every night and being accountable. And
are you excited about like certain dinners that your mom's preparing?
Oh, dude, don't get me wrong. I am gaining weight rapidly being home. All right. I love it, but I have to, treat that with the appropriate respect. I can only come up like 2-3 times for dinners. Then I'm like, hey, guys, I'm gaining too much weight.
So, have you been working on any projects, or are you getting any content out? What are you doing? You got the auto tune. You're having fun with it.
Yeah. So that was, I've had, just in a total real capacity, life has been hitting so hard with all this. On top of the quarantine, the fires, the economy, politics, all this, everyone is at such everyone's redlining as far as their patience, and, people are just a little on edge. So life has been difficult. I've had some projects that I've been working on, and some things have gotten in the way. I wanted to come out with like in the beginning of this, I was trying to do just a solo podcast like what you're doing, and I wanted to call it Tell Me Something Good. But then I just, felt like that'd be apropos and something nice. And then life got in the way for like 2 weeks. And in those 2 weeks, someone else started the podcast called Tell Me Something Good. And so I was like, all right, I'm not gonna steal their name. I'm gonna let them have it. They got all the emails and the domains and everything, those bastards.
Oh man.
I know. So that got sidelined. That was originally what the autotune purchase was for. I was just going to have some fun with the podcast. So I put that on the back burner for a little bit. And lately I've just been working on writing. I've been working on some scripts and things, like bigger projects that I've wanted to get to, but never had the time. And then the big grind recently has just been like editing clips, so I can finally start putting things out and have like an online presence for my comedy as well. Cause I've just had like, pictures of my journey so far and really haven't uploaded anything. I have that one clip on YouTube from like when I first started that I was using to just like, when bookers ask for a clip.
Right. You gotta have that. Yeah.
Yeah. But I had been compiling some footage of performances, and I'm trying to like, segment them into bits and get all the subtitles in there. That takes forever because I'm a chimpanzee when it comes to technology.
Oh man. I gave up on subtitles. I looked for like an easy way to do it. Like I looked for an easy out.
There's no easy out.
There's not. And I'm like, you mean I gotta?
Yep.
Nah,
Yep.
no.
You got to sit there frame by frame like a stenographer and
Yeah,
type out your set.
yeah.
And the payoff is I have one clip out now. It looks all right. It like I'm my own worst critic, so I always feel like I could have done more as far as the editing, but I just
Yep.
went with something simple, put it out there, people liked it. So I guess the subtitles are worth the endeavor. I don't know. People appreciate it.
They look great. They look great. Every time I watch someone's clip and they've got subtitles, I'm like, God, Jess, you're just freaking lazy. Do the subtitles.
That's where I was kicking my ass, because it's like they appreciate it. They can be at work or while they're on Zoom, doing their meetings, they can scroll past it and watch without the sound on and still get a chuckle or whatever.
Yeah.
I think it's just one of those necessary evils. It's something you got to do.
Yeah. I'm not gonna do it.
I don't blame you, dude. It's taken up all my time. I hate it. It took me like 3 days to get one clip done.
Yeah. I'm happy. When this happened, I just put my podcast to rest because I was up to that point. I was recorded in my living room on Saturday mornings, just like this. Like I'd invite you over. I'd brew some coffee. We usually smoke afterwards because I cannot smoke and then try to interview somebody because then I just do a.
Oh, dude, I've been on my young Willie Nelson through quarantine. I'm smoking way too much.
Really?
Bran in season 8. I just light up, my eyes roll back. I'll be going now.
I stopped. I'm taking a break. I'm not gonna say I quit. Nope, not gonna say I quit.
Because you never quit anything.
Yeah, I'm taking a break.
That's good.
Just to try to clear the fog a little bit. But I think it's gonna end up for me. I think it's gonna end up being like like some people enjoy a good cigar every once in a while.
Yeah, after a really nice dinner.
Yeah, I think it's gonna end up being something like on a Friday after work. Yeah. I'm just gonna enjoy this, but I don't know. I don't know where I'm at with that right now. So I'm
always in pursuit of the right balance with that too, because I've been a heavy stoner pretty much since I started smoking.
Same.
It's one of those things, that's how most people do it.
Yeah,
and, there's always that. I forget what it was in, but there was a Richard Pryor line where he was talking to somebody about smoking weed. And he's like, you got to be careful with that shit. You might wake up and 30 years of your life will have gone by. And that fucks with me all the time. That fucks with me all the time. I think about that. And then since we're talking about George Carlin, he was saying his balance that he found was kind of like what you were saying every once in a while, but he would go and do all of his writing sober. And then he would smoke a joint and then go straight back to it. And that was his little process. Is he'd write everything sober, and then he would get stoned and look at it through that lens.
Oh, my dogs.
How many dogs you got?
I got 2. Well, I had one, and then my roommate moved in, and then she moved her dog in too. So now I've got 2, and one's like a real, honest to goodness size big dog, and then my dog is like this little Chihuahua. And hey, hold on, hey. Knock it off, both of you.
Oh, look at that respect right away.
And don't tell your mom I yelled at you. I tell them that every time. Like, my dog is Penelope, and Emily Peterson is my roommate.
Nice.
And her dog is Elsie. And Elsie is just this big sweetheart of a girl. And if I yell at her, she's like, away. She's like, right away, she's like, sorry, Jess.
I'm so sorry.
Yeah, I'm like, don't tell your mom I yelled at you.
All right.
Yeah, I've been lucky, and I haven't had any time off. Like I stayed working. Our job shifted us online the week before. So like March 9th, they told us to go home. Like March 9th, they sent us an email saying if you're comfortable working from home, why don't you work from home?
Yeah.
And I was like, I don't know. And I went into the office, and there was no one there.
What do you do?
And I work in IT.
Okay.
I do tech support.
Right on.
And I went into the office. There was no one there, and like our manager walked out, and he's like, "Jess, did you get the email?"
Like,
I was
what
like,
are you doing here, dude?
I was like, "Yeah, it said if you want to stay home, you can stay home." But and he's like, "Yeah, why don't you go home?" I was like,
yeah.
All right, that's the last I've seen of the office.
Yeah, that was my pops. He got that same email, and then he has literally been home since March.
Yeah.
Which I was going crazy. I can't even imagine. He's got like one trip to Safeway a week, and then besides that, he's just home all the time.
I did that the first 2 or 3. I did that probably the first 2 months. I was going out once a week.
Yep.
At the very beginning, I was going out once every 2 weeks
Hmm.
and just buying enough stuff to not have to leave.
Same.
But now I only go to Trader Joe's,
Uh-huh.
and I probably go 3 to 4 times a week. I get an hour for lunch, and it's 10 minutes away. So that's that's my social hour. You
Yeah.
know,
Just that little
uh,
out during the day.
yeah,
Are
just to
you
get
are
out.
you going out and micing or doing any live shows?
I haven't done any shows, but I finally started. Last night I did like my third outdoor open mic,
Uh-huh.
and last night it was at Vince's Pizza,
Okay.
and so they do it out in the parking lot, and they've got
Nice.
the outdoor dining set up in the parking lot.
Right
Um,
on.
I've been taking my own microphone just because I'm an extra spaz,
Yeah.
and last night was the first time I felt like I had a solid set.
Good.
I did about 8 minutes, all new material. Just some stuff I had written down, and other stuff I just riffed,
Hmm.
and it felt great. And I recorded it. I recorded all of my sets, the audio,
Yeah, you gotta.
and I listened to it when I got home, and I'm pretty happy with it. I think it's something I could build a solid 10 minutes off of,
Yeah.
and then add to the stuff that I had pre-COVID. What about you? Have you been doing stuff?
Well, I'll say one thing before what I've been doing. I wish someone had told me this when I was like uh, 12, 14 months in, rather than just starting to do it now. But I was the same way. I would audio record all my sets and then just stick my phone in my pocket or on the stool or wherever.
Yep.
Start video recording as much as you can. It's a bitch because finding the space for everything, like I was constantly running out of space on my phone and my computer and everything. But if you can get an external hard drive and start getting all that together, it's going to be really important for when you want to put clips together. But also, like you said, some of that stuff that you said last night wasn't planned and was just off the top, and you want to make sure that you capture those, not just in audio, but when you look at the film too, you start to really dissect your physicality on stage.
Yes.
um, I used to be so like reserved and I feel like it was really when I started seeing that on footage that I realized it, because I like you don't see yourself when you're up there. You think that you're engaging as much as possible,
Yep.
but when you look at it on film, you're like, oh wait, why am I looking down there, or why am I not facing the crowd, or why am I not like animating this bit? And
Yeah.
that's when you start to like really add in act outs too, and it takes on a whole nother element of performance art, and you're not just thinking about the words that you're saying, but also how you're delivering them.
Yeah. Exactly. I've heard a lot of comics say that. Um, that you. Hold on, my dog wants to come up.
No worries, get them.
What you doing? Look, and right back to sleep.
Right back in there.
Yeah. Imagine how warm and cozy that must be, though.
That's the spot, dude.
Yeah, she's out. Now she's look, she's hanging over the chair and just looking out. She's
Yep.
chilling.
She's got the lookout spot and all the warmth.
Yeah, yeah. So what? So you've been going out?
So at first I was doing nothing and just staying home, and like you said, I would go out and like do my once every 2 weeks to Safeway and stock up, and I was just going crazy in my apartment in SF. Um, but I did do one outdoor show in May. I went to the Pink Martini in Rockland.
Oh yeah.
Marcus Mangham is producing that and did a great job. That was like the biggest audience I've had since COVID has set in. Still, that show was like the biggest one. It was a lot of fun. Um, it all kind of like, I remember I was there with Paul Conyers. I don't know if you know him,
Yep.
Bay Area cat, big tall guy. And we were both so fucking nervous because we are like, man, it's been like 90 days. Do I remember any of my like? I remember it was so cute and adorable that it was only 90 days back then. Um, but we went up and it all came right back like riding a bike, and had some of those riffing moments and that connection with the crowd that I was missing so much. So that was really fun and valuable. Didn't go out to any mic. Actually, I did go to one outdoor mic. I went to one outdoor mic after that in Oakland. Um, not the Lake Merritt one, but they were doing a different park one. And then recently, some more outdoor shows are starting to come back to, my corner of the Bay Area. And I went and did Sally Tomatoes. I'm not sure if you met Kayla Keller, but she's starting to book that now, and they have a little outdoor thing.
Mhm.
It was a lot of fun. It's so interesting with the outdoor setups. People are still kind of figuring out the configuration, and since everything has to be socially distant and compliant in that way, it's so anti the traditional comedy mentality of getting everybody as close to you as possible, as close to each
Yeah.
other as possible. Like I went to the Sally Tomato show, and it was like they were like 20 yards away from the stage, the first row. And
Uh-huh.
then even from there, they were all spread out into this like big backyard expanse, and there was a fire pit and everything. And so it's like everyone's there and they're listening in their own little pockets and laughing, but it's outdoors. Did you ever perform at Cobb's
No, no,
or come hang out for the open mic there?
no, never made it there.
Oh, dude, when we come back, we got to make sure we make that happen because that
For
room was really fun, but also really brutal. It was another one of those rooms where you don't always like if it's a packed out show, you're gonna like you hope you're gonna crush, but
Uh-huh.
if it's like kind of spattering attendance and not full, you will feel it because it's like deep and tall and cavernous.
You just feel the jokes drop.
Oh yeah. I remember I did a show with I think it was Tony Woods one time in DC, and we were in a subway tunnel, and he's like, man, I keep telling all these jokes and I feel like the laughter's just going that, or like the jokes are going that way and you guys are this way. So I forget how he worded it, but it was like that. It's like you just feel it.
Uh-huh.
And that's kind of like what some outdoor shows are like now. The acoustics are a little off, the people are a little far away. And they're used to watching their TVs, so they're not like audibly engaging as much.
Uh-huh.
But I did Janesh and Marty's show in San Francisco last night, and we discovered that people are like really hungry for crowd work right now. We think that was like our way of cracking the case of post quarantine live comedy. When people are returning, they're used to sitting and listening and watching like they're watching the TV.
Yeah.
If you kind of play with them and ruffle them up with crowd work, they start to engage a little more. And I think that's what people are hungry for anywhere, because they're there for the same reason we are. They just want to interact with some people.
That you bring up a really good point. Last night at the open mic, our buddy Danny D, she did like I think she did about 10 minutes, but like 7 of it was crowd work.
Yeah.
And she just started leaning in. She found somebody in the audience that was just as giving, and they were eating it up, and she crushed. And another guy did a lot of crowd work too, and it's the audience was really receptive to that. And I didn't do so much crowd work, but I could tell like the little bit that I did, they were ready for it,
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. Everyone just wants to interact and engage and just see a face that doesn't have a freaking mask on,
100%.
But that show out in Rockland, man, that is a great crowd. The Pink Martini show that Marcus Mangum is running.
Yeah.
Yeah, they got him doing 2 a month now. It was a monthly show.
I know, dude. It was so funny. When I did that show, I was laughing with Paul because the owner of the Pink Martini was like chasing Marcus around the crowd and following him like a puppy dog all night, and was like in his ear. He's like, man, we could do this 2 times a week. We could do this every night if you wanted to. And it was like, I had never seen that kind of mentality from a venue owner to a comedian. Usually that's the other way around. The comedian's just the owner, like, hey man, I could bring people every night if you want to. Like I could boost numbers I could do anything, really, anything that you want to do. And here it's the other way around, and this guy is just in Marcus's pocket. So he's got a great setup there, and it's nice to see that, or hopefully at least venue owners are going to be excited about the comedy community again and bringing people in.
Yeah. You know who else is doing something really great? I think it's really innovative and pushing the envelope and kind of taking it to the next step is here in Sacramento, Laughs Unlimited is doing, what I'm talking
disco.
Yeah, it's I've been to a couple of music festivals where I've like walked by and seen the silent disco going on, and you're like, what the hell? Like you just see people just like, and there's like you can't hear anything.
I used to do them in my college sometime.
Yeah, and those are super cool looking, but everyone that I've seen that has done that set, it was going pretty good, and then this stinking air quality hit. and they got a couple of them canceled, but it looks like they're back up. And the great thing about Laughs is like they already had like their core set of comics that kind of rotate in and out of there. Bunch of killers, bunch of local area guys and gals, and what's her name? Jenny Cantrell, is that her name?
The owner.
The owner, yeah.
Yeah.
That I really admire that next step they took to not only take it outside, which is what everyone has been told to do, is to take it outside, but to adapt and find a way. So my hat's off to the Pink Martini and to Laughs Unlimited for finding new ways.
Well, what's interesting is that I think it's going to be a lot of these privately owned businesses and clubs that are going to be, for better or for worse, they're going to have the burden of being the first movers in all this and bringing comedy back.
Right.
Because the big clubs that are owned by like Levity Live and Live Nation, and they are so shackled by like state regulations and just particularly like the permits that they have for their specific buildings. Like for a while, it was a lot of the verbiage in LA about having live performance. Like at the Comedy Store, they couldn't even have people on the patio and things like that. And like Cobb's has been shut down. Punchline has been shut down forever. So these bigger clubs are kind of just in limbo. And meanwhile, we get people like Jenny at Laughs. And I don't know if you've been seeing this guy starting a club in Alameda.
No.
He's been posting on Bacon about starting his own club. And I think they just did their first kind of pre-show last night before their grand opening, where he had a small live audience and then also live streamed to Zoom and Facebook and whatever.
Oh, I did hear about that. Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, people are making moves. And like you said, I have the utmost respect for people like Jenny who are staying open and pushing the boundaries safely. And giving these killers that you said are her stable of comics, giving them work, because so many of us are just fucking out of work forever.
Yeah, it's been a lot of fun to watch and really inspiring to watch too.
Yeah.
Even like I had to like, well, I started talking about the podcast for a minute and how I just put it to rest for a little while because I wasn't gonna have people in the house but then like I got to the point where I needed to stay creative and I needed to keep writing. Yeah, and I just missed talking to people,
Yeah.
And so what's been really good about this is that like because we're doing it via Zoom now, like I was able to have Ivy Cordova on, I was able to have Coral Best on, right? I'm able to have you on, and to coordinate these types of guests in the past, it would have taken, weeks, months to like, oh, when are you going to be in town?
The logistics of travel and all that.
And
now everyone is so accessible.
Yeah, and not only like when are you going to be in town, but like, are you going to have extra time? Because like a lot of times when the comics come in from the Bay, they drive up after work. And they do the show and then they drive back the same night. So something I wanted to try, I was gonna try to set up like at a show and like interview somebody like mobile, like after their show, like in a back room or in the back corner of the bar. I was gonna try doing that. That was gonna be something I was gonna reach out to somebody here locally. But that I was gonna ask like the week of the lockdown.
Do you have a Zoom? Do you know what those are?
No, tell me about it.
So they're like a little audio recorder. It looks like they're about like this big. It's a little bit bigger than a phone, and then it'll have like two little antennas at the top that are like big round steel antennas that are the actual mics on the thing. But it's a portable recording system, and also it's like a little audio interface, so you can plug a mic directly into it. Some of them have 2 mic lines, some of them have up to 4 mic lines.
Okay.
And so you just plug the mics directly in, SD card to save all the files.
Right.
It's headphone ports for everybody, and so it's like a mobile broadcasting station essentially, or like a little mini recording studio. I think they're like $200-300, but if you're oh no, you're still working, but say if you're on that that unemployment and government funded.
Uh-huh. No, I'm very lucky to still be working, and that sounds like a solid investment.
Yeah, for on the go podcasting and recording, and also it will grab the best quality audio recording of your sets.
Uh-huh.
And if you have someone that you're going to a show with, it will watch over it for you. You can sit it in the back of the room, so it'll catch your voice coming forward and also the audience, and or you can like even plant it somewhere in the middle of the audience so it gets really good like crowd volume.
Oh, that sounds like a good idea. No, I'm definitely gonna. I'll look into that for sure. For
Yeah.
sure. Yeah. What do you want to do in the next few months? What do you think you're gonna keep yourself busy with?
Well, it's nice to know that some outdoor shows are coming back. So like I just did this one last night, and they're doing another brunch show tomorrow. So I'm gonna go do a guest spot on that,
Great.
and just try to keep writing and grinding and working on, like I said, some of these scripts and other longer projects. Keep editing these bits. I'd like to get an outdoor show going down here. I'm living with my folks in Burlingame, which is like 20-30 minutes south of the city.
Uh-huh.
So unfortunately, even further from you. But
Uh-huh.
like right by San Francisco Airport, we have some family friends that have a restaurant on a golf course, and I'm wondering if I can talk to the woman that owns it and see if we can use her parking lot space as a little
Right.
outdoor thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm gonna try to look for some venues, something in the area, just to help contribute to bringing things back safely.
Right. And to just get back into the whole planning,
The rhythm.
and right. What do you if you don't mind talking about what kind of material are you doing right now? Did you write material, or are you seeing COVID related material, or is it like is it post COVID, pre COVID, during COVID? What are the topics people are talking about?
So I love crowdsourcing and asking people about the kind of jokes that they want to hear.
Uh-huh.
And when all this was starting, I would get a lot of questions about like, are you doing any COVID jokes? And then I would give people different answers just to see what they would say and how they felt about it. So some people I would say, yes, I am. And then some people I would say, no, I'm not doing any COVID jokes. No one wants to talk about that.
Uh-huh.
And for the people I would say, yes, I am, they'd be like, oh, good luck. And the people I would say, no, I'm not, they'd be like, yeah, no one wants to talk about that right now.
Uh-huh.
So I've kind of found it. I've won a couple little COVID anecdotes, I'll say.
Yeah, okay, I got that. I get you.
I've added on or kind of sutured into old jokes.
Mm-hmm.
My one joke about Zoom comedy is that it's awful and I feel like a cam girl. You know, you're sitting there with absolutely nothing from the audience and just like, do you like this? Is it this? Is it that?
Yeah.
And it's just your cat in the back going, no, they don't. No, they don't like this at all. Put your shirt back on. This is embarrassing.
I feel like a cam girl, and there's like a tear just slowly coming
yeah.
down.
And it's just my parents in the audience, and they're donating heavily.
I'm doing a little bit of COVID humor, and kind of just like timely stuff, but definitely I've always stayed away from politics and all of that stuff, because man, you want to divide a room real quick. Just do.
Oh, I know. That was when I went up to did that Pink Martini show. It was right in the midst of all the riots, and I'm not a particular fan of Trump myself.
Uh-huh.
So I was gonna go out and do some Trump bashing, some good old Trump bashing, and had some fun jokes. And I thank God I asked the people beforehand. I was like, how are we politically? Are we Trump people? And everyone's like, yeah. And I was like, all right, well, fucking.
You're all, yeah. Yeah.
Time for a different joke. Where are my weed people at? Who's smoking weed tonight?
Yeah, you could always win an audience over with weed jokes, man. Everyone, like, you find some closet weed smokers in every audience, you know.
Yeah, I don't even want to touch all the politics right now. I do too much debating and all that at home, trying to work on everybody here.
Yeah.
And it really wasn't until last night actually at the show. James Moara?
No.
He's a very, very funny Barry cat. He was actually the last person passed by the San Francisco Punchline before it closed down.
Oh, wow.
I mean, I'm not sure it's officially closed down, but I mean, since it closed its doors for COVID.
Right.
But he was headlining the show last night and had some very funny Joe Biden bits. And that was like the first time I had been in the back of my mind thinking, maybe I could get a little bit political and talk about it, just because the characters are so funny, and it's just such an absurd state of things. But I don't know.
I think Biden is a much safer target than Trump.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but then it's like you don't want to lend any credence or give the enemy any, you know. I don't know. I'm not gonna.
I think at this point, people are pretty much have made up their mind, like which way they're voting or which way they're gonna go. So I don't know. But yeah, I just stay away from it.
I like to educate myself politically and stay informed. But when it comes to comedy, it just in my gut, I have this feeling that no one wants to get their political ideas or opinions from a 26-year-old stoner. You know, like, I'll make you laugh, but you're not coming to me on CSNBC. I'm not debating, Bill O'Reilly on Fox. Like,
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
not that guy.
yeah.
Maybe
That's
later
not.
in my career when I earn it.
Yeah, that's definitely not for me right now either. I'll stay away from that. But
Yeah.
I'm okay with some COVID humor, and some timeliness and some Zoom humor.
Yep.
It was funny the other day. I finally took like 3 days off from work,
Hmm.
and before you leave, like you got to set up your out of office email, you know.
Yep.
And I had I have a standard template where I just change the dates, and I said like I will be out of office. I was like, wait, I will be out of kitchen.
Yeah.
I will be out of kitchen for the next 4 days.
I'll be in
Returning.
the dining room from 4 to 5.
Yeah, but it's definitely some crazy times, and it's cool and it's inspiring to see people adapting, and
Yeah.
also to know that like I wasn't alone in the struggle at the beginning of like getting really down in the dumps and not even wanting to like when I took down all my podcast equipment because it was in my living room, like there was a corner of my living room that was just like the podcast studio,
Yeah.
you know.
And there's a corner of your heart that's that podcast studio.
Yeah, when I took it down and like walking in and just not seeing it in the living room. Well, first
Yeah,
walking in and seeing it in the living room and just but I'm glad that I got it going again, and I'm glad that
Oh yeah.
people
And thank
are.
you for having me, dude.
No, thanks.
I'm happy to be here.
Yeah, it's just so great to talk to people again, and like I said, yeah, like you and I, like we're not best friends. We didn't go to high school together. I'm not gonna be the best man at your wedding, but dude, we had some fucking fun that night at Touch of
Absolutely.
Class, and we hit
And talking after sets and having you on, and this is the comedy community. This is how we all come together by staying in touch and checking on each other. And I appreciate you checking in with me.
Yeah, no, I appreciate you coming on the show, man, and I look forward to seeing whatever you do next because you've got a positive attitude, you got a great smile, and you got some pretty hair. And
I'll get it cut, Jesse. I promise.
I don't know. I just always tease about people's haircut. Get a haircut. I just love saying that to people. Get a haircut.
Get a haircut, dude.
Yeah.
Get that shit off.
It sounds like such an old timer thing to tell somebody. Get a haircut. Yeah.
Get a haircut. Pull your pants up.
Yeah. Dude, speaking of pants, I've been wearing basketball shorts and sweats for the since March.
Yeah, since March.
I haven't put on a pair of jeans since probably March 13th. And
yeah, same.
Last
3
night
times, only shows.
Last night when I was gonna go to the open mic, I was like, let me put on some jeans, right?
Yeah.
I couldn't find my fucking belt. I couldn't find my belt, and I was like, oh, fuck it. I just wore basketball shorts. So I was hoping somebody would ask me to do a show soon, but I got to go buy a belt first or find my belt. I can't.
You gotta show up with some pants. That's a prerequisite for comedy.
Yeah. I've been doing my open mics in basketball shorts because I'm just like, fuck it.
Yeah.
But last night I was gonna wear jeans, and the jeans idea got scratched because I could not find a belt. All right, Austin. I'll let you get back to your day. I'll let you finish your coffee. Have you had breakfast yet?
No, I usually I'm like an intermittent faster, so I'll eat around like 1 or 2.
Yeah. I've been doing the intermittent fasting too. But I'll have dinner at 6, and then I try to have breakfast at 10.
Nice.
Which will be, I think that's 16 hours, and
that's a good window.
Yeah, and it's really been working for me. It's I've dropped a ton of weight in the last 18 months,
I
and
know you look good.
oh, thanks, man.
That's why
And
you need the belt. You got to get another one.
that's what it was too. I was like, I almost like just did a shoelace, like
Yeah, I've done that.
skateboarder style.
You got it sometimes.
Yeah, I almost did a shoelace, but I've been doing the intermittent fasting. And the other thing that's been working for me, man, is a gallon of water every day.
Yep.
A
I'm
gallon of
trying to
water.
drink a shit ton of water. I used to get all my water from coffee, and I'm trying to be better about that.
I love my coffee. Are you a coffee drinker?
Dude, I'm an
Dude,
addict.
no,
I'll just
man.
say it. I have a problem.
One of the best things about being home is like I have time to do the French press again. You know, so
I started making my own cold brew, and that was fucking next level at home.
oh, you're the second person you're the second person I've heard this week preach cold brew.
The first one that you tap to when you make it will be the strongest cup of coffee you've ever had, like nuclear. So just plan accordingly because you will get shit done.
Oh man! All right, I'm gonna look into that. But man, I don't know. It's starting to get cooler. So,
yeah. So that's you got the French press.
Yeah, I love my French press, and I love going and finding new beans.
Oh yeah.
Grinding them up, and yeah, enjoying a good cup of coffee.
Yeah.
Austin Carr, thank you very much.
Thank you.
I can't wait for talking after sets to get back up and going again. But between now and then, to see what your genius morphs into the next thing. Just work hard, man. That's all we can do, dude.
Thanks, man. I will if you will.
All right. Take care, buddy. I'll see you around.
You too.
All right. Thanks, Austin.
Thank you.
All right. Good night.
Good night, folks.
All right. Later.
But that's all, folks.
All right. Take care, Austin.
All right, my dude.
Bye-bye.
See you.